Yes, another welcome to all the friends here and a warm welcome to all the friends around the world that are joining us tonight. For some of you it's morning, for some of you it's midday or evening or in the middle of the night. And I'm very happy to be with you tonight. Often before Satsang I tune in with our Soma, and for those of you who don't know Arasoma, it's a beautiful color care system, and color has a certain language that bypasses the logical mind. It's like a resonance field that happens. All these bottles are part of the Arasoma system. I'm not using them, but I use pomandas and quintessences as a possibility to attune to a certain vibration, because we are multidimensional beings and we can focus on different topics or different vibrational fields simply by turning our dial, if you like. And today for me the sapphire blue pomanda came, and sapphire blue is usually connected to the throat chakra. And in the throat chakra what is connected is expression, obviously. There's a voice box, so we express ourselves, and in the blue we are connected to truth. But if we are not in truth, we feel blue. Then we have the blues. So blue is a color that has, like all the colors, have different meanings in the challenge and in the gift. So we could say the challenge in the throat is to speak the truth. The challenge in the throat is to live in the not knowing. And that is quite a strange statement, because the way we were brought up is we should know. And we accumulate endless knowledge. And I don't know about you, for those of you who have studied a lot, like I did, all the knowledge that I learned, maybe there is 5% left that is useful for my life today. Everything else is a mental load that, in a way, I'm grateful that it kind of slowly leaves me or has left me. I used to be very good in learning through the mind. The trouble is, the more you recognize your essential being, your true being, the mind doesn't have so much attention. Did you ever watch your mind, watch your thoughts, what thoughts are moving, like in the morning when you wake up, or in the evening after a full day? Do you notice how much gibberish it is? You know, how much repetitive nonsense the mind spits out. And how often, and most of the time, we tend to believe what our mind says. And then when we hear other people's minds, we link either positively or negatively in other people's minds, and then we create opinions. And every opinion we have about anything creates a division. The moment I have an opinion of good and bad, there's a division. The moment I have an opinion about other people, we are labeling a mystery, pretending we know that mystery. The moment you talk about somebody being stupid or intelligent, has not much to do with the person. It has to do with our habitual mind that seeks labeling so it can stay in a way safe in the belief of who I am. Was it too complicated just now? No? You notice how through the mind and through our beliefs we create an identity that then we have to defend. And anyone can, push a button and your whole identity is freaking out. Now, is that your real identity? This construct that we learn since childhood, how we should be, how we shouldn't be, what is right and what is wrong, and what is high and what is low, and what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, is totally arbitrary. You go into another culture and it's exactly the opposite. Now, I don't know why existence has created this, but obviously we all went through it. Like the becoming. Most of the world is in the becoming mode, in the hope that the next moment will be more interesting than this one, will be more rewarding than the now. Each time you think about, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to go there, or I need to complete this, wait, I can only be relaxed and happy when I have done this. You know this? You know this for yourself? It's called stress. And it's all a trick of the mind to take you away from the only reality that is existent, which is now, this moment. But in the now we cannot even think about this moment. The moment we think about the moment is already gone. But we can be. Because when I say we can be, language is very, very limited. We are. And this being doesn't need any addition in order to recognize itself as being. But then the trouble comes, because then we cannot define ourselves anymore. And since childhood we have learned that we need to be someone. And we don't ask our children, who are you? We ask our children, what do you want to become when you're big? And then there's all these comparison people. Well, maybe you want to become like whoever becomes your hero. And then you look at movies, and then you want to become like the superstar there. It's a funny setup, isn't it? And I think this setup is just there so that we can eventually penetrate the illusory nature of mind and thought, of belief that's in the sapphire blue. Because anything we believe has a doubt behind it. Did you ever think of that? And then when we move deeper into the throat, there is a space beyond belief, beyond doubt. And we call it the unknown. I remember after one satsang somebody asked me, it was a few years ago, Rahasya, who are you? And I heard myself say something that I think everybody could say. I'm an, what did I say? I'm an undefinable happening with a name.
Yeah.
It's still relevant. When you go beyond the definition of your mind that you have learned, and then you move into no definition, then the mind has nothing to do there anymore. But for this nothing to do, the mind and the body mind and our old identity is scared like hell. So we are, within the personality, always looking to not go into that nothingness, into that emptiness. So we fill it with all sorts of stories. Anybody does that? Yeah? Like my story. And then we make, the more important we make our story, the more I exist. And right behind it is, who the hell am I? Am I really my thoughts? I cannot be my thoughts because I can watch my thoughts. I cannot be my beliefs because I can define my beliefs. I'm not my story. Forgive me, some of you may have a very interesting story. I personally, the person, Rahasya, has a very interesting story. But it's obviously I'm not my story. And I don't know if it's age or Alzheimer or whatever it is, but sometimes I think, if I tell a story about my life, maybe 80% is realistically true and 20% is made up. Are you making up stories depending on who you meet? Just to appear a little bit more interesting, to appear kind of like cool, to appear attractive or, great. All these wonderful games, please don't misunderstand me, there's nothing wrong in this. But when you realize that you're not this, then it is really like watching a very interesting movie. You know you're watching a movie, you even get identified with the persons in the movie, but any time when you feel it's enough, you wake up and say, oh, nothing has happened. I've been sitting in the chair all the time, looking at light and shadow, playing out a story. So the good news is we don't have to give up our person, our personality. We just need to be able to see that there is something much more real that is closer than the definition that any one of us has given ourselves. That who we are is before thought, before belief, before story, even before body. Don't believe me, check it. Are you your body or are you aware of your body? The moment you say, my body, there's I and the body. So you cannot be the body. The body is in you, coming and going. Are you with me still? Yeah? Now I'm sure we have heard it 10,000 times in many different ways. But who knows, it wants to be spoken right now. And that brings the whole phenomenon of meditation into the right place. Meditation is really just an excuse to watch, an excuse to be, an excuse to stop, an excuse to let everything be as it is. That's what meditation is. There are so many techniques of meditation. If you're familiar with the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, there are 112 fantastic meditation techniques. But all these techniques are like a little crutch for the mind, that maybe one of the techniques will open that moment in time in you where there's no more thought, where there's no more technique, where there's no more doing, where there's no more practice, where there's no more strategy. And many of us meditators, I often include myself in that too, is that we use a technique and then we get attached to it. And then we're going to say, okay, I'm going to do this 3 months. Great. And then after 3 months, I'm so proud of my spiritual achievements, which is again the ego coming back from the back door, thinking, now I'm a great meditator. Because we have believed that the technique is actually the real thing. The technique is like a bridge. When you cross a bridge, you don't walk around with a bridge on your shoulders. So then ultimately when we rediscover the place that is closer than all content of our mind, we rediscover that there is no form as such that we can define ourselves with. I doesn't have a form. I am, you may have heard this many times, I am that which is aware of form, but it doesn't have a form. That's why we overlook it most of the time. Because mind can only see form, know form, know a certain structure. And the more our attention goes to that which is aware inside, to that which is formless, the more that, and that's the amazing thing, the more, it doesn't mean the form disappears. The body is there, our mind is there, our emotions are there, our personality is there, it's all there. But when we are not identified with it, it functions so much better. You just look at nature. Only man can get identified with things. The tree doesn't say, hey guys, I'm a palm tree, what about you? Oh, you're a camphor, you have to be eradicated. In Byron Shire Council. No. So we are here. This is it looks like tonight is an invitation. We are here to drop beyond knowledge, beyond beliefs, beyond concepts, beyond theories, beyond philosophies, beyond religious teachings, beyond pretty much everything. And of course our old sense of self is freaked out, it's very scared. My God, if I am no thing, how can I feed my family? How can I make money? How can I find a partner? how can I, whatever we aspire in our day-to-day life. Well, maybe it doesn't need you. Existence has given all the gifts for every one of us to function wonderfully. But when the source of our functioning is not the ego structure that is looking for feathers or medals, then the investment is not there, and then your alive energy, your creative energy, your response to the now is free to express itself. And it's a vibrational field. Shall we try this? Can you stand up, and you're going to get 3 drops of the sapphire blue onto your left palm. The remedy beyond beliefs, just in the palms of your hand. And you receive it, rub it into your hands and close your eyes. Let it be like a tuning fork for an inner space. And it's blue, it's like the blue empty sky. Yeah, just feel this for a moment. Sometimes there's little crutches like fragrance or sensory experiences like the color or the touch can be helpful to attune to something deeper than that. So you can raise your arms high above the head and imagine you can give that sapphire blue ray, like a ray of light out of your left hand, sending it all around the world back into the right hand. Reminding all beings on this wonderful planet that there is someone, something deeper than all beliefs, and this is a space that connects us all. And then you can turn your palms towards your head, and just like we wash the body with soap and water, we can clear and clean the aura, the energy field around your head with the sapphire blue pomander, creating more and more space, clearing all the clouds that may linger from old habitual thoughts, clearing the temples, clearing the back of the head, clearing the frontal area, and then bringing your palms together above the top of your head like a symbolic gesture of oneness, of the opposites meeting as complementaries. And then when you move to the third eye, you can clear the curtain of your projections so that you open the possibility to see reality as it is. And then you can clear your face. And as you come to the throat, you can draw another curtain. You draw the curtain of all your thoughts and beliefs, revealing the space of not knowing, from where all creativity arises. And you can clear your shoulders and arms, taking off any burden that you may habitually carry energetically. Clearing the outer layers in front of your heart. We call this layer the layers of ideals, of shoulds. All these ideas, how you should be, how you should not be, is usually covering the essence of the heart. And as you allow that curtain to open, just connecting with the inner sense of your heart, the open space. And letting your palms rest over your heart for a moment. Absorbing the vibration of the sapphire blue deep in the silence of the heart. And perhaps you can feel how your heart responds to this spacious energy of the sapphire blue. It's almost like the inner sky. And for a moment feel how as part of this emptiness is perhaps a fragrance we could call love. But love not as a as a relationship love, love as a state of the heart. And then you can move further to your solar plexus, clearing here all these strategies of separation that we usually cling to, like comparison, competition, judgments, blame, inferiority, superiority. It's like taking off the armor of protection and allowing the blue sky to be the space in which your uniqueness has space. In the third chakra and the solar plexus, you could say, is our individuality. There's no one like you in the whole universe. So how can we compare? And then moving further down through your belly button to the lower belly, and allowing that space of the sapphire blue to gently hold all emotions and feelings. Usually we attribute the lower belly also to the inner child, to that innocent being inside that is maybe still small and spontaneous and very sensitive. And then we can move down to the first chakra, to the root center, and allowing the spaciousness of the sapphire blue to honor this physical form through which consciousness can experience itself in form. This is how important we are. When I say consciousness, we could say the divine. The divine doesn't have any other body than your body to experience itself as a form. Honoring our sexual energy and clearing the energy all along the leg, all the way down until you come to the ground with your palms. And this is a good moment to let go. Just imagine for a moment everything you ever defined yourself with. you can let go right now. You can have it back after the session today. But right now, just become empty. Totally empty. Holding on to nothing. Be really curious what is here when you're totally empty. And then as you come up, you can allow that infinite blue sky, that blue color, that blue ray of light rise inside your body all the way up until you, for a moment, stand with your whole body open. Because really we are like a bridge between earth and sky. And then you can bring your palms close to your nostrils and taking 3 deep breaths of this fragrance of the sapphire blue into the temple of the body. And for some of you, you may feel like it's like an opening from within, like a wider space within. Very good. And then we can sit. So Steve's inner woman has played again, and he has created such a beautiful mandala of, it's almost maroon magenta. No? It's the sannyas color. The maroon magenta also means the love into the little things of life, into these tiny moments of presence, of awe, of wonder, of a place that is beyond beliefs. So I want to dedicate the light of the candle today to our capacity to move beyond beliefs and be who we are, even if we don't know what that is. And then meeting is an inner meeting. So if you allow me, these days I'm very close to the Atisha meditation, and I feel in a turbulent world right like now, where there seems to be a new relief happening through the American voting and through the new president, but still a lot of turmoil. Atisha has been given this incredible gift. It was hello, is this Mr. Kraft? We want to sell you some Bitcoin. But maybe it's the wrong moment for Bitcoin. But it's a good moment to move into an Atisha meditation. So there's a longer story about Atisha, but the technique that he learned from his last master, he had 3 masters, is very, very powerful. because it is the direct discovery that our heart, and we actually all have a heart. Is there anybody who doesn't have a heart? All have a heart. He has discovered for himself that the very space of heart, which is of course love, which is of course the same formless quality as awareness, but I think women like the word love more, men like the word awareness more, both is formless, but that this space is in itself the most powerful possibility for transformation. So what Atisha has been sharing with the world, he's an ancient master, is that instead of what we learn in the New Age to get rid of problems, to throw out problems, to fight problems, to conquer problems, to whatever we do, which is pretty hopeless, why not move into transformation and allowing the so-called negative or suffering energy to naturally transform in the heart. And we don't need to do anything about it. That's the amazing thing. So when I explain it right now, this is just for the mind, so that the mind can relax when we move into the meditation. And eventually, so we will guide you gently into the heart. And when we are actually touching the deepest space of the heart, which is just empty, we're gonna begin to absorb any conflict, suffering, problem that we are aware of in ourselves. Maybe you have a relationship trouble, or maybe somebody pushed your button, or you feel really angry, or you feel down and disappointed, or you're depressed. Anything that we usually would go to a therapist with, you will be your own therapist. You will just not try to get rid of it. This is a very important thing. And most of us, habitually, the moment we suffer, we want to get rid of it. Right? Or is anybody okay with suffering? So here we're not going to get rid of it. We're actually, it's an experiment in consciousness. We are absorbing the suffering into the heart. And you can visualize it, you can imagine it, you can just feel it, you can even hear it or smell it or taste it, whatever sense works for you, to absorb this phenomenon that is like, that's called suffering. And whatever it is, it may be jealousy, I don't know, if your girlfriend just left with another man, or it can be disappointment or loneliness, or fear of death because somebody in your family is dying. You can use anything, and you absorb whatever you're aware of around the suffering, you absorb it into the heart. And you will discover that it just doesn't find a resistance anymore. So it can flow through the heart, and it simply disappears as suffering, just like clouds disappear in the empty sky. Don't believe me, test it. And then in the out-breath, we breathe out the love that we are, the blessings, the healing, the energy that is deeper than the problems at the core. And if you like, you can imagine it fills these areas that were held in suffering. So you begin with yourself, you absorb your own suffering, and you breathe out blessings. And then if you feel ready, you extend, because sky, there's only one sky, so it's all connected. You can extend the heart to friends and family. your, your relationship partners, your parents, your uncles and your children, and any suffering that you're aware of in them. And this is something new that we usually don't do. No? We try to, to make it nice for the other. Don't feel so bad. And instead of don't feel so bad, okay, come in. Let your sorrow just flow into my heart. Let your anger, let your hate, let your violence, let all that stuff, let it flow into my heart. But don't hold it in the heart. Don't hold it in your energy field. Let it just flow through. And you will find it disappears. And then the out-breath can carry the blessings of love and peace to the friends and family. And then if you feel ready, you don't have to go this far. You trust yourself. If you feel ready, we're going to extend it to all beings. Because the world is in such a turmoil. There's so much fear. So many people lost their jobs. So many people don't have money. So many people need to move away from here even because the rents are too high. And so on. And so many people die of COVID or get really sick. So there's a lot of suffering story. And unfortunately, hardly anyone knows that instead of going out to the phenomenon, we go in and absorb all inside. And that's only possible because you, the real you, is infinite space. Now, let it be only a concept. Don't believe it until you know it. Should we try this? So it's good if you sit comfortably with your spine upright so that you can stay awake. And for some of you, the word guidance works, and for some of you, maybe you cannot hear or you don't want to hear, and that's okay. If the words don't work for you, don't listen to the words. Let this just pass, because the transmission of the space is deeper than the words. And for some of you, the words help to actually move deeper. So you can close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, breathing in deeply and breathing out deeply. One more time, breathing in very deep and breathing out. And breathing in deep breath and letting go. And just being aware of the breath right now. Let the breath be returning to its natural rhythm, and yet stay present to the breath. You will notice the moment we observe a phenomenon that is only possible to happen now, like the breath, we are already more present here. Now from the breath, I'd like to invite you to bring your relaxed attention to the center of your chest, to the heart center. If it helps, you can even put one of your hands there, or even both hands, just to feel a connection to heart. And just begin to sense the atmosphere, the quality in your heart. If you're touching your heart with your hand, maybe just feel the warmth of your hand. your attention is with the heart, just get a sense whether the heart is more burdened or more open, more relaxed or more tense. And don't try to change it, just allow whatever sensation is here in the heart. And feel how each in-breath is almost like a light that shines into the heart from inside to reveal the momentary climate in your heart. Maybe the heart feels sad. Maybe it feels very open, innocent. Be right here. And allow each out-breath to be like a letting go inward. We say out-breath, but the letting go happens inward. And let each in-breath be an expansion of the experience of this moment. So the rhythm is breathing in, expanding, and the experience may change or get bigger. Breathing out, letting go deeper inside. And the mind doesn't know what is deeper than this experience, but we can go there. And then we discover that perhaps as we melt deeper, we are already deeper than the emotional heart. We are even deeper than thought. And thoughts can naturally move in the sky of the mind, and yet our attention is deeper than thought and deeper than feeling. And like this, maybe you get a sense of a melting into the heart. Heart is often connected with a sense of tenderness or of love or of compassion. Each out-breath a deepening, deeper than even the body sensations, the feeling in the body. And deeper than the breath. And deeper than the heartbeat. Just falling in. Sometimes when we move in it, we may have the sensation like falling backwards into an infinite abyss of space. Until we melt deeper than all experiences. And of course all experiences continue to happen in the empty sky. And yet our attention is deeper than all experience. And when we ask ourselves, well, who or what am I deeper than all experience? There's no more answer. And yet I am. Now feel into, or get a sense of this infinite space inside. In Japan, the Zen masters call it the empty heart. Now the rediscovery, the recognition of the inner sky, of the empty heart, can be used for a deep healing of the body-mind, as I spoke before. So you can call in your body-mind any suffering you're aware of, or maybe a few sufferings from today, any misunderstandings or frustrations or fears or anxieties or insecurities, anything. You can invite these sufferings riding on the in-breath and flowing into the heart, flowing through the heart, and begin to dissolve in the empty heart, in the empty sky. And this is not a doing from the ego, it just happens naturally. Just like every cloud eventually disappears, revealing the infinite sky that is always there. And the out-breath can carry the blessings of peace, of healing, of love, of compassion back into your own body-mind. Now let that happen for a few breaths. Inviting, riding on the in-breath, any suffering you're aware of. Allowing it to dissolve in the heart, in the empty sky. And the out-breath is carrying the blessings of peace, of love, of healing, and touching, of filling those places, even in the body, that were occupied by suffering and tension. Inviting any fear, any worry, any insecurity. Riding on the in-breath, flowing into the heart, and dissolving here. And breathing out, blessings, peace, silence. A few more deep breaths. Very good. Now when you are more familiar with this natural unfolding in the heart, we can extend the heart to friends, to family, to people close to us. If there's anyone around you that is suffering, or maybe sick, or maybe in panic or insecurity, or frustrated, lonely, maybe lost their job, you can invite their suffering, riding on the in-breath. Let it pour into your heart, but don't hold it in your heart. Let it pour right through, and you will find it all begins to evaporate in the inner sky, in the inner space. And the out-breath can be a breath of blessings, of peace, of love, touching your friends, your family, the people close to you. breathing in any suffering, any problem, any difficulty, any struggle. Allow it to disappear in the infinite heart. Breathing out blessings, healing, love. Comfort. A few more deep breaths, absorbing any suffering that of your parents, of your children, of your friends, of your partner, of your colleagues. The heart is big enough to transform all suffering. And breathing out blessings, healing, love. And this is not an imagination, it is our nature. It is love and peace and connectedness and silence, which we find deeper than the person. One more breath, absorbing any suffering of your friends and family. Breathing out blessings, healing, love, compassion. Now, if you feel ready, if not, you can stay with your friends and family and with yourself. And if you feel ready, because it's so natural, you can extend the heart to all beings, because we are so connected to all beings. We can invite a stream of suffering flowing from all beings into the heart, flowing through the heart and evaporating in the empty sky, in the inner space. There's no effort here. And the out-breath is carrying a stream of blessings, a wind of blessings all around the planet, touching all beings with love, with light, with healing, with divine support. Another deep breath, allowing that flow of suffering just pour into your heart, and just find it simply evaporating naturally, leaving just the wonderful open sky. And the open sky, we could also label it the source of all gifts, of all essential qualities we have. So the out-breath can carry the blessings of creativity, of love, of peace, of silence, back to all beings. A few more deep breaths. Recognizing that your innermost being is wider and wider, completely undisturbed, full of love, full of blessings. Breathing in suffering, breathing out blessings. And then with the next breath, we can move even deeper, beyond all story, beyond all technique, beyond all visualization. And we will sit for a while, maybe for 5-10 minutes, melting deeper and deeper inside, nothing to do, letting everything that's happening be as it is. Feel this peace. Drink this silence. This is who we are. This can never go away. It can hide, but it can never go away. Feel the love. The silence. The subtle joy for no reason. It's almost like walking through a field of flowers and the fragrance stays with you. So when in a moment we take a deeper breath and we gently become aware of the body again, just bring with you that space. And then you can find a good moment to open your eyes to a brand new moment here. Maybe another breath and a good stretch. Very good. So we can open this. If there's anything you want to say, you want to share, you want to ask. And the same invitation is for the friends around the world. If you have anything that you want to ask, you just write in the comments and Steve will read it and maybe I have something to say to it. feel this space is such a delicate, beautiful space, deeper than thought. This is probably why most of you cannot say anything, which is no problem. You don't need to look for anything. Maybe something pops up. Another way.
I have a comment from Thomas.
You have a comment from Thomas.
Thomas Hagerstone.
Thomas
Sweden.
Hagerstone. Hi, Thomas.
He says, thank you, Rahasya. Wonderful to hear the sound of silence of the tropical night of Australia while watching the snowflakes appear in an empty heart here in Snavlunda, Sweden. North Sweden.
North Sweden. You're in the snowy fields of North Sweden. Yes, and we have the frogs singing mantras here. What a wonderful world. North Sweden, it's dark. Does it already get a little light during the day, or is it dark the whole day? I remember I was in North Norway in June, and the midnight sun shines into your room. It's amazing. But on the other side in winter, it's just dark. And both is held, the snow and the snowflakes and the tropical nights of Byron Bay, it's both held in this immense space. Hey, come a little closer so that they can see you.
I don't have anything to say, but I do like to come and sit and just see.
So how is that? Just let it break open, Sometimes tears are part of the language of the heart, more than any words.
There's no words, there's just brief emotions and faces and love and
When you look closer, you will find pretty much everything that appears to be real is a dream. The only real is the dreamer. I never got this, you know, when you spend a lot of time in India, you will definitely hear different versions of life is just a dream, or it's just an illusion, or it's just, you know, clouds moving in the sky. And for a long time I got really disturbed by this, because for me life is such a precious phenomenon, and such a variety of possibilities, and so rich, and to kind of dismiss it just as a dream. But more and more I understand what is meant by it. It's like, it's called a dream so that we don't get too attached to the content of our life. And the moment we are not so attached to the content, it can flow. It just flows. You know, if you look back, life has been flowing in its own way. We think we are the doer, but very seldom we are actually the doer. If you look back, it all happened. No? And when the attention moves from the outer object, which is the only way the mind can sustain itself, when it moves to the subject, when it moves to that which is aware, to that which is love, then all the objects are seen for what they are. They come and go. If you can even extend it to the whole universe. No? Apparently there was a big bang. Before there was no thing, and then there was the universe. Same with us. Before there is no thing, but that which is aware is still here. That's why the mind will interpret our day-to-day life as a dream. But the more we become aware of the observer of that which is aware of any experience, it opens such a possibility of joy, of just enjoying whatever life brings. It's so rich. And yes, it brings really disappointments. How nice to die into it. It brings all these human emotions. How juicy. How is my friend Mika?
Amazing.
Is she living with you or with the mum?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, we both get to share.
Very good. You give her my love when you see her. Give her a
Very
big
good.
hug.
She's growing fast.
I can imagine. How old is she now?
She's turning 10 this year, in July. Thank you.
Thank you. Sometimes when I hear the frogs and I'm with you in the field that keeps changing, It's almost like the frogs have antennas, and when more people begin to think, they start singing more. And when we drop into that empty space, in that silent space, in that natural relaxation, we're totally attuned. For poor Thomas, I don't know if that's the same with the snowflakes that are falling in northern Sweden, but here our frogs are great masters. They reflect back our inner state. And perhaps you notice it, which is an ancient meditation technique, the more our attention moves to the gap rather than to the sound, the gaps widen and reveal the unspeakable. Let's see, want to see. This is my favorite book from Osho. Tantra, the Supreme Understanding. You know, there's something beautiful about books of wisdom. You can just open them anywhere and get reminded of something, of a deeper truth. And Tantra is so close to my heart in many ways. It's not just the sexual Tantra, but the sexual Tantra is also close to my heart because it is such a beautiful way to actually rise in love rather than falling in love. So here we go. Tantra is the only religion which has not used any conditioned reflexes. Because Tantra says you have to flower into a perfectly awakened being, not into a robot-like mechanism. You notice how our mind is more like a robot-like mechanism, spitting out the same beliefs and the same thoughts and the same actions and the same habits, day in, day out. So if you understand Tantra, habit is bad. There are no bad habits. There are no good habits. Habit is bad. And one should be awake so that there are no habits. You simply live moment to moment with full awareness, not by habits. If you can live without habits, that is the royal path. Why is it royal? Because a soldier has to follow. A king doesn't need to follow. The king is above. He gives orders. He receives no orders from anybody. A king never goes to fight. Only soldiers do. A king is not a fighter. A king lives the most relaxed of all lives. This is just a metaphor. A soldier has to follow. A king simply lives loose and natural. There's nobody above him. Tantra says there is nobody above you whom you have to follow, though whom you have to get your pattern from, through whom you have to become imitators. There is nobody. You live a loose and natural and flowing life. The only thing is just be aware. So what is the difference between real compassion and a compassion cultivated? A real compassion is a response, the situation and the response. A real compassion is always fresh. Something has happened and your heart flows towards it. A child has fallen and you run and help the child to stand back up. But it's a response. A false compassion, a cultivated compassion, is a reaction. These two words are very, very meaningful. Response and reaction. Response is alive to the situation. Reaction is just an ingrained habit. Because in the past you have been training yourself to help somebody. If he has fallen, you simply go and help. But there's no heart in it. Somebody is drowning in the river, you run and help the person just because you have been taught to do so. You have cultivated the habit of helping, but you're not involved. You remain out of it. Your heart is not there. You have not responded. You have not responded to this man. This man is drowning in the river, and you have not responded to this moment. You have followed an ideology. To follow an ideology is good. Help everybody, become a servant to people, have compassion. You have an ideology, and through the ideology you react. It is out of the past that the action comes. It is already dead. When the situation creates the action and you respond with full awareness, only then something of beauty happens to you. Yes, come.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, Greg.
Am I near enough? I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
Good. Over the last 12 months, I've been listening very intently on your teachings and how you've been a beacon in this community. And it may be a little bit political asking this question, but the relief and joy that I personally feel from the events that have happened in America, I just can't overestimate. And when quizzed on the inauguration day, I think it was Obama who made the comment that when it was about where to from here, clearly he was overjoyed. But one of the comments was that the country collectively was suffering exhaustion. And hey, no truer words. And I think we in Australia feel the same. So my question to you is, I know it's still early days, and I know you and I have our agendas in terms of work in the community, but is there any practical advice that you would care to share in terms of how you're reading it as to the way forward? Whether it's you, or whether it's at a community level, or whether it's at a world level. Is that too big a topic tonight?
No. This is the way forward. Because the moment we look for forward, we look for something better later, but the better is here now. When we are present, and what Osho just said, when we are spontaneous, responding from presence, from the heart, from love, then that's what takes the whole world into a different dimension. It takes one person at a time. There is no such thing as society. There's one. The more people are present, the more the field of presence. This is the whole function of a Buddha field. The more the field of presence begins to, influence and resonate with people that are ready to wake up. So yes, there's a beautiful supportive movement of relief, but that can be very easily going into another habitual pattern, into another belief system, in another society system. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening that is absolutely not spontaneous, that is absolutely governed by all sorts of mental stories, and usually of big corporate money making. But then there are more and more people that are spontaneous. And I remember this one saying of Osho, I sometimes mention it: the highest intelligence is a creative, spontaneous response to now. It's in a way similar what he just said. You know? So the moment you make a plan, well, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. So now there's a big shift from very egocentric personality into a different kind of personality, and because so many people have identified negatively with the egoic personality, there's a big relief. But it doesn't get better as long as the attention and the interpretation about things is out, and about how people react is outside of you. Things stay the same. To make it really drastic, please, don't believe me, check it. If any opinion, and there I include even the opinions on Trump that just left, any opinion says more about you than about the person you have an opinion on. So any opinion on people will keep them trapped in your opinion, just like many of us are so trapped in what other people think of us until you discover who you are. Does it make sense? So I think, politics seems to be, necessary for a while until enough people wake up. And then, can you imagine? Everybody is living his own essential nature, and for that we need to understand that all our essential nature is like the nature in the natural world. Every flower is beautiful. Every tree, every plant, every living thing is an expression of the whole. When we begin to recognize this, and perhaps, I don't know, our new president in America is a little bit more attuned to that, or not, I don't know. But it's not for the president to do this, it's for every single person to wake up, to be present, to be spontaneous, to recognize that their essence is love, peace and joy. And this is what people find when they work with themselves, when they go deeper, when you penetrate. I mean, many of you have done therapy, and when you penetrate I call it an illusion, even though it feels so real, when you penetrate your suffering, that's what you find. At the end of your suffering is no person, but love. That's my experience, and I'm sure it's the experience of many. At the end, when you enter in, eventually you don't find a separate person. Only there we are one. And when you live from that, it sounds very, idealistic, but I see a possibility. Now, to come back to Tantra, also for couples, can you imagine when couples, instead of giving each other juice in their problem states and pushing each other's buttons because the other doesn't fulfill your expectations, nobody can fulfill anybody else's expectations. Also, poor new president. Right? There's so many expectations on the poor guy. Nobody can fulfill anybody else's expectations. You cannot even fulfill your own expectations about yourself. So all the, eventually I can see all these rules and all these morals, and Confucius was the best one. He created so many rules how to live. Then you become a complete robot. You can program a robot how to live. But we are living love. We are living presence. And that is an intelligent force. And the more that is available in people by them turning in, the more something incredible can happen.
Thank you.
That's what I can say to this.
Good.
But I'm not a politician, so I'm glad I don't have to run the country.
I'll get that from you out of coffee.
Okay. Yeah. But it's true. I think this wave of relief, we can use it because there's an opening, there's a change, there's the solid structure has loosened up. So we are connected to the collective mind. So we can all loosen up a bit and move to the essential. Ne?
There's a question that just came in. Frida Carlson.
Frida, hello Frida.
Rahasha, please speak about expectations. I just realized I have so many expectations on my partner, in our relating, on myself, on outcomes and situations. Please speak about expectations.
I think I just spoke about expectations. Thank you. Expectations are hopeless, because they create the hope that only if the other fulfills your expectations you can be happy. Impossible. Expectations are completely hopeless. They are just adding to your suffering, and they are adding to your entitlement. You have expectations on your husband because you feel entitled that he should be in a certain way, and then you don't see your husband, forgive me, you see your own projections on your husband. And the poor guy, you know, we men, I feel when my woman has expectations, I even try hard to fulfill them. And there's another place where I love to respond, and it may be the same thing, but it's not out of the pressure of expectations, it's out of the love. So I think I just started to talk about it, you know. What is very beautiful is that you see you have expectations. Now let the expectations be there. They are a habit of the mind. Bring your attention to that which is aware of expectations. And then there, you know, wherever your energy flows, wherever your attention goes is where your energy flows. If you now try not to have expectations, then you have expectations on you about not having expectations. That doesn't work. Drop the whole thing. Be there. Look into your husband's eyes and look a little bit longer than 1 second and then you shy away. Look into his eyes and see that there's an incredible being of uniqueness and beauty, a total mystery that happened to come into your life. One of the very simple things we actually, is a funny thing that we have to practice it in the Tantra for Couples course, is before any interaction happens, look at each other. And when you see beyond your own projections, when you see the mystery in the other, bring your palms together in this namaste, in this honoring of a divine form that is in front of you. It's a total mystery. You can never demystify. If you want to have the other according to your will, you kill the other. Any expectations you have about your husband is killing him. So, and then you bow down to the uniqueness of each other. And then you kind of, you know, you can, somehow you got together, so there must be love behind it, otherwise you wouldn't be together. So then instead of bringing energy to your expectations, bring energy to that which loves in you. It's not difficult. And then I almost said, then come to Tantra for Couples, but it is no traveling. We have another Tantra for Couples here. Couples need to learn this. They need to see that killing the relationship is not needed. You can actually rise and grow in love, in presence, in meditation, in reflection, in support. That's what couples are for. And then when, you know, the couples are the core of society in a way. Forgive me the single ones, of course. They're also core of society. But there's a lot to learn about love. So forget your expectations, forget your husband's expectations, look at him, honor him, let yourself be honored. Let yourself be. Your expectations are projections of your own expectations to yourself. Let yourself be. Let your husband be. Let things be. Existence knows exactly what to do with you. Give it out of your hands sometimes. Okay? Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Next Friday, another chance. And we are planning actually through Greg. We are planning an open workshop, like an open meeting for Tantra, where I speak a little bit more about the art of love and intimacy. And this open thing is not just for couples. So we will find a date probably in 2 weeks or so, and you will get a note. If you're not on my mailing list, here before you leave, write down your email address if you want to have information about that. But my idea and hope is that we can just inspire a few more people into the possibility for Tantra.
If you want to get on the mailing list, just tick the box on the far right on that sheet.
And add your email. Thank you for tonight. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. There's tea and some cookies, some gluten-free cookies. We are improving. And we'll see you hopefully next Friday. And thank you everyone around the world for being with me. And keep meditating.